guys, it's Little Rooster, and so today I'm going to be talking about my experience with gauges. So I started off with 14 gauge, and I just kind of I don't know, I didn't know how to really do it, so I did it the wrong way. You're supposed to make sure that everything's lubricated so that it slides in easier and it's less painful, but I just kind of put it in. That wasn't a good idea. So mistake number one. This was my very first pair. They're kind of just clear and sparkly. So yeah, I had those in for 2 weeks, maybe, if that. And then I was right back at the mall buying another pair. So yeah, my next pair. These were my next pair. They're marbled. And I didn't read any tutorials on how to do this really or anything when I first started doing it, which was a terrible idea because it didn't work out. I'll explain why in a little bit, but again, I waited another 2 weeks, maybe a week, something like that, not long enough, and I decided I wanted to get another pair. So I had a bunch of 12s. I had 3 pairs, but I decided that I wanted to size up after about a week or 2, something like that. So then I got 10 gauge, and I got 1 pair of these because I figured that I would get a pair of 8 gauges at the same time, and then that way I wouldn't have to keep going back and forth to the store to go get them. Okay, sorry for the slight camera change and whatever. I had to talk to my mom really quick. But, so I decided that I would go back to the store, or I decided that I would just get 10 gauge and 8 gauge at the same time, that way I didn't have to go back to the store. And, so I did that, and I watched a couple tutorials, and I looked it up, and it said that you're supposed to wait a month to 2 months, depending on your ears, but in between each change, and I had only been waiting a couple weeks, and that's why it had been hurting so bad, because they weren't fully healed when I was sizing up. And this became a problem when I tried to go from 10 to 8 gauge. So that's the difference between a 10 gauge and an 8 gauge. And, yeah, I, would get the 8 gauge probably maybe almost halfway in, and then it would just hurt too bad, so I would take it out, put my 10 gauge back in, and then the next day I would try again, and I would get it, to the same spot, and then it would hurt too much, and I would put the 10 back in. And my best friend, she was sizing up at the same time I was, and she had already put in her 8 gauges, and so I was like, why won't mine go in? She put hers in after 2 weeks, so I kept trying to put mine in, and I was like, why isn't it working? And it was because, well, one, because we're just different people, and our ears heal at different rates and everything, but also just because I was sizing up too fast in general, and this caused my ears to get infected. So they got really, really sensitive, and they hurt really bad, and they were red and pussy and gross. And so I looked up what to do, how to fix it. And it said that I can either go back down in sizes until the infection goes away and continue to clear it, or I can just take it out altogether and wait for it to heal. So what I did was I took it out altogether, and I put in a regular earring, and I waited for it to heal. And yeah, so I don't have gauges anymore. I just have my first piercing, my double piercing, and then my cartilage on this side. And I get a lot of questions from my friends and other people just asking if I would personally want to go through that experience again and continue getting gauges. And personally, I would not. For me, it was pretty painful, partially because I didn't do it the right way, and then partially because I didn't wait long enough. So that's my fault, but I think also a big problem when it came to infection was I didn't really sanitize things very well, and I was using plastic instead of metal. What I should have done is bought a kit and done it like the right way. But yeah, nope, didn't do that. And so I think that was like a big problem and a big cause of the infection in my ear. And I don't think it's worth it for me to go through that, and the payoff isn't like enough. But I do know that my best friend, she still has gauges. I think she's at 6 gauge right now, and she hasn't really had any problems at all. I think she had like a small slight infection, but she just left her tunnel in, and then it kind of like healed itself up. But yeah, so it really just depends on the person, and it depends on the person and what materials you're using, and if you're getting it done right and cleanly. And I was not, so now I just have all of these gauges in here. And they just kind of sit around in my house because I don't know anyone else that would use them, and personally I think that's kind of gross. But yeah, so that was my experience with gauges. I kind of failed. I should have read into it more before I did it, and I just shouldn't have like gotten them, I feel like, at all, because I couldn't take care of them properly and I didn't know enough about them. So if you guys are planning on getting gauges, just make sure that you research about it and make sure that you're using clean materials and that you're keeping your ears clean and that you're using an actual kit rather than using plastic gauges to stretch your ears. So that's all for today, you guys. I might be making and posting another video today or tomorrow. I'm not too sure when. But if you guys liked it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any suggestions or ideas or comments or anything you guys want to let me know, just leave them down in the comments below. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!